the next talk by Maxim from JetBrains on DataGrip.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Hello, everybody. I'm really glad that you chose my talk. This is the sponsor talk, right? So I'm going to advertise something which people usually don't like to visit. And I'm really glad that you are here finally. And definitely I'm going to advertise the product we're doing without any specific wrapping, just direct promoting of what we are doing. Because we're making DataGrip. Who've heard of DataGrip? Okay, great. Thank you very much. A decent amount of people who are using DataGrip. Can I ask you to raise your hands? Yeah, it is not useless talk for you. You will definitely know something new. I'm really happy to see all of you and even some old faces. For example, Henrietta, I remember me visiting you in Chicago many years ago doing the same stuff. So I'm promoting DataGrip for already 10 years, and I'm still happy to do that. A couple of more things to say before I start. DataGrip is now free for non-commercial use. So if you're going to use it for your own hobby projects or whatever, which is non-commercial, just download it and you're good to go. A couple of more things to understand, which I usually say before I start. We, as JetBrains, we do a lot of IDEs, right? IntelliJ for Java, PyCharm for Python, RubyMine for Ruby, and many of them. DataGrip functionality is fully included into all these IDEs. So if you have any commercial product from JetBrains, any commercial IDE, there is a database functionality already there inside. You just connect to your database, Postgres or whatever, and you will have everything I'm going to show you today already there. So it's up for you to decide if you want to use the separate product or if you want to use the database functionality within the IDE. Some people prefer this, some people prefer that. That's totally fine. Okay, let's start with kind of a setups. I assume it's too small, right? So I will try to zoom it. The more I zoom the IDE, the worse is UI, because we are not definitely designing our UI for perfect zoom. But you know, there's a choice. We need to do it. So 150, is it okay for you? I should go more or less okay. Okay, let's go.
Just a point. If you have any questions during the talk, I can.
Yeah, I forgot to mention.
Ask them or raise your hand.
Yeah, I'm totally fine with any kind of interruption. So if you have,
give me a sign, so I don't. If you see somebody.
Yeah. I'll try to follow all your eyes. Yeah, if you have any questions just within my talk, just let me know, and you're good to go. Okay, let's. Yeah, definitely start doing the wrong thing.
You mentioned that I can use it for my personal projects, and there is no difference. Yes, I'm downloading it, and the features are the same, and the same functionality, or there is difference?
There is no difference at all. You are not supposed even to prove that you are using it for non-commercial use. The only difference which will be introduced maybe that for non-commercial users we are going to collect the data to train the AI, but it is opt-out. So you can just uncheck the checkbox that you want us to do it. But yeah, that will be the only difference.
Okay, and how you will check that I started to use it for commercial?
We will not check it.
You will not check?
Yeah, we'll just trust you. You look like a trustworthy person, and we think that everything will be all right.
We will trust each other.
Okay, let's define what theme are we using. So this is the light one, and this is the dark one. Just a little piece of democracy. Who wants light theme to be used? Not so many. Okay, and who wants dark theme to be used? It always seems like that, but I hate dark themes.
FYI, light is better for people with visual problems, okay? People who can see equally, just be considerate of people who need the light background.
Okay, does anyone has visual problems, so dark scheme doesn't work for this person at all? Okay, thank you. I think we're good to go. Okay, cool. So DataGrip looks like this, more or less super clear. Here you have Database Explorer, right? First of all, we support many databases. Basically, all the major ones you know is in the list. We also have the list of basic support databases. They're a little bit less popular, but they're still over here. It is a very important part of DataGrip. What is the difference between basic support and complete support, as we call it? And there are basically two very important parts. First of all, for complete supported databases, we built our own syntax parser and syntax highlighter. So each database has its own dialect, right? That's kind of a known thing. And we built our own syntax parser based on an official grammar, and then we use this syntax parser to highlight your queries to highlight the errors. If something is highlighted in red in your code, it means that something is wrong. If something is highlighted red but it still runs perfectly, it's our bug. If something is highlighted okay but doesn't work, and that's also kind of our bug, but that's a little bit more tricky situation. But in ideal world, we should resolve this problem as well. So yeah, that's about syntax highlighting and parsing. And another part of DataGrip, which defines the complete support of database, is introspection. Introspection is a very important process. It's the process of retrieving metadata from your database. As soon as you connect to a database, DataGrip starts running internal queries to get all the metadata, names of the objects, relation between them, name of the columns, name of the indexes, blah, 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 and stuff like that. Definitely, this can be a time-consuming process, but after we get all the metadata, then we use this metadata for coding assistant, coding navigation, and different bells and whistles. Recently, we started to introduce levels of introspection. So if you want to define the level of introspection, you go to a data source like Postgres, you go to the settings, to options, and here you define the introspection options. And the most important one is this one, level. If you define level 1, it means that we will retrieve only names. Fast, yes. Works, kind of okay. But you will not have all these super cool navigation features because we don't know about many connections between your objects. With the level 3 everything, we introspect everything, and with level 2, which is something in the middle, you get faster introspection, but you don't have the source code introspected. Because by default, we get all the source codes from your views, from your routines. We also build our own index on that data, and then we provide navigation, so you will be able to find the usages of one table in the routine, and stuff like that. So this is introspection. And introspection is definitely the set of queries which we created by our own, and we to retrieve the metadata. So this is a very important part of DataGrip, and it actually makes it different from many other tools. We do this kind of introspection, and it's quite, deep. In modern world, it eventually helped us to use AI in a more effective way because we use this metadata as an AI context, but I will cover it a little bit later. So, okay, when you connect to your data source, you also define what kind of schemas and databases you are going to choose, you are going to see. So here you define, I want to see, for example, this database and this schema. You can uncheck the databases you don't need to work with, and you can uncheck the schema you don't need to work with. First of all, it's important because of the visibility, so you only see what you actually work with, which is totally fine. But what is more important, it is the only schemas and databases which are going to be introspected. So if you don't want introspection to run on the schemas you are not using, just don't select them over here. Okay, you connected. Basically, you can play with many options over here in the database settings. For example, read-only helps you to not let any kind of update or insert queries to run against your database. So if you tick read-only, it means that any updates or any insert queries or any routines which actually run the insert queries inside the source code are not going to be possible to run. Okay, when you connect to a data source, you have it over here. This is super straightforward. You just open your schemas and see all the objects over here. That's totally fine. One of the things you can use, you can set the color for your data source, something like that, which will mean that this data source will be colored in red, and everything connected to this data source, both with query concepts, with the result, will be colored in red. So it will help you to distinguish your production data source from, let's say, test data source. I will put no color for that. A couple of features about the database tree. By the way, you always have a lot of options how you actually display this tree. You can group objects. You can see the comments of the objects just in the tree. You can see the schema refresh time just inside the tree, which for me is the thing, and stuff like that. Couple of things you can use here. You can just start typing, and you will be always able to search for objects. So if I start typing film, I see the film objects filtered. Actor, the same. It is kind of a client search on the tree, and it works only with open nodes. So it doesn't go into nodes if they are closed. If my nodes with table is closed, and if I type something like this, I get nothing. So it's just a quick way to filter the tree. If you want to proper search for the database objects inside the database, there is another type of functionality. And you can, as you see, put your data source into different folders and subfolders and organize them in the way you like. Okay, let's create our first query. If to get the first query, you need to create query console. It's kind of a temporary file where you create queries. Big news, we are getting rid of consoles. So console is kind of a little bit unclear concept for our users. It's kind of a temporary file where you just write queries, and it's stored in some internal catalog. Sometimes We get a lot of complaints that people cannot find where the query consoles are, what they are. So we are getting rid of them, and in the next release, we're going to have just query files, which is a little bit more straightforward conception, just the physical files on your file system, and you are deciding where they are stored. Or you can use the scratch files, just a very temporary files which are shared along the projects. So it's the last release cycle where query consoles are alive in the current state, but we did our best not to break any kind of a scenario. So everything should be super smooth for current users. You just migrate your query consoles to the files with the help of dialog, and it should be totally fine. Okay, let's write our own select. A couple of basics for those who never use DataGrip. We have a template mechanism. For example, you can type SEL, press tab, choose the table. Here's your select. If you want to type insert statements, you just press ins, press tab, you choose the table. Code completion gives you all the column list. And here, when you put the values, you see that, yeah, we highlight which particular columns you are working with. So you will, it will be easy for you to understand what particular column you are working with. So these templates, they are stored in settings. So you can go to settings and type something live templates. We call them live templates, and for SQL, you have lots of them. So some of these templates are my own. I think the blue ones, some of them are pre-built, so you can create your own templates for basically everything which is repetitive. They can be small or they can be big. For example, SEL, this is the template for select. As you can see, it has two variables. So templates have variables. You can play with them a little bit. So table is the placeholder for table. So code completion actually understands that code completion needs to provide you the table list. And the end is, for example, the caret placement, right? So I can put the caret just after the wildcard, press OK, and what happens afterwards? My caret is placed just after the wildcard. Why it can be useful, you can press Alt-Enter, expand column list, and get all the columns expanded. So Alt-Enter is one of the most important shortcuts in JetBrains IDEs. It always gives you the list of possible actions, usually refactorings. I will bring it back. Usually refactoring, so let's do a couple of refactorings with Alt-Enter. First of all, let's create a query. Yeah, full line join completion, something we were really proud of, especially before the AI era. It was something really cool, and it happens based on introspection. We just know that there is foreign keys relations inside your database, and that's why we assume, okay, maybe you need the whole join here. If I need another join, totally fine. If I need another join, totally fine. If I need another join, totally fine. So you can write joins really easy if you have foreign keys relations based in your, established in your database. If you don't have foreign keys relations, there is a solution for that. You can create a virtual foreign key, which will be a foreign key on the IDE level. It will be kind of a hint for the IDE how to treat joins and how to treat diagrams. So there is a little bit advanced functionality. I think to make it, you can go here, new virtual foreign key, and you will just create a virtual foreign key, again, on the IDE level. So it has nothing to do with the database. So if you want to have this kind of a join experience, if you have nothing, if you have no foreign keys relations. Okay, let's do something next, where, for example, abbreviations, again, very old feature, but I like it a lot. So for example, AI, this is the very rare place where AI is something, but not artificial intelligence. AI is the actor ID, right? I can do something like that, or OB goes for order by, OB goes for order by, FN goes for first name. So again, if you have names with very long names with a lot of words, you can use abbreviations to complete your code really fast. So this is our query. If you do expand column list within this query, it will respect all the joins and get the very, very messy list from all the joins and from. And as you can see, we automatically detect that there are possible ambiguous problems, and that's why we qualify all the ambiguous problem columns. So if I will delete this qualification over here, DataGrip immediately will highlight me with a warning highlight, so it's not something really crucial, but actually this query is not going to work, and we will tell you that there is ambiguous column reference over here. If you want everything to be qualified, it's possible via the settings, or you can just go here, select the columns you need, press Alt-Enter, press Qualify Identifier, they will be qualified. So I will make it a little bit more neat, so it will be not as messy, at least on one, it should be placed at one screen, maybe something like that. Oh yeah, I like this very much. We created this feature. I didn't plan to tell about it, but I like it very much. We created this feature based on tweet of Lucas. I don't remember his name. He is the joke after, because you understand what's wrong over here. That it is shadowed as alias, right? But it is really common mistake for many DataGrip users and stuff like that. I think it's not going to work because of qualification. But what about that? Yeah, so this works, and you don't understand what's going on over here. But this is considered to be an alias, and we build the inspection based on this tweet because this is a really tricky situation. Some people really cannot understand what's going on over here, but you need just a comma placed over here. Okay, let's, now it has the ambiguity problems. It has the ambiguity problems. I want to qualify it with something like that. Okay, another type of refactoring is rename. You can always rename the alias. For example, this is f alias. You put the character over here, you press Shift F6, you type new name, you're good to go. So it will be renamed to the entire script without any manual work. You want to introduce the alias for actor table, press Alt-Enter, introduce table alias, you're good to go. So always try what Alt-Enter gives to you. It can convert your query to subquery with the alias, then you can convert your subquery to the common table expression, so a lot of different things which you don't need to do manually. I will go back in time a little bit with Command Z. Okay, let's do something like that and create another query. So let's imagine you have another query. It will be super similar, where, actor ID, something like that. Oh no, let's go first name, where first name. Like M, it's just a senseless thing. If you have several queries within your query console, by default you press Command Enter, and we will offer you to run this particular query. So again, you don't need manually to select the query, just we try to do it automatically. Or you can run 2 queries and get 2 results. This is more or less obvious. If you have subquery, for example, let me create a subquery again, alias, something like that. If you have subquery, there's another option always to debug the subquery. Sometimes you need just to run the subquery. This is also possible. You don't need to do the manual selection. There is just an option for that. And the same works for common table expressions. But you can always customize this behavior also. So if you go here to customize, you see that we have settings for execute actions, and there are several of them. So what I did personally for myself, I created another execute action. I introduced another shortcut, and it always executes the smallest statement, which means that if I need just to select, like run this query, I put the character over here, I press another shortcut, and this query is run. So I don't need to do any kind of selecting or choosing or whatever. So it's up for you to decide how you run your queries. But you can select queries also. You can select query and run. It will also work. Sometimes it's a really helpful thing. What else? You can type any kind of commands over here, something result 2 and result 1. Result 1. And it means that this command, they will become the name of the tabs over here, so you can easily refer which particular query refers to which particular result. Also, another mode you can use in editor result mode. And in this mode, a result appears just inside the editor behind the, below the query. So it's kind of an SQL notebookish mode. If you have a plot of several subsequential SQL queries, you can use that mode. Maybe for some of you, it'll be much more comfortable. But I will not use it. Okay, what's next? You can, if you have 2 result sets, they can be obviously compared. I don't know if my result sets are super comparable, but let's just try them. So if I run 2 result sets, no, I don't want to use that mode. I run 2 result sets. I have result 1 and result 2. Basically each, oh no, I need a distinct here. This is something really not super useful. I add distinct here. Now I think they're more or less comparable. Okay, shall list the edge, whatever. So any grid in DataGrip can be compared to any other grid. So for us, it's database agnostic. You just press the compare data. We need to compare result 2 with result 1. Let's see. No, there's no mutual rows here. Let me do one last thing, something like that. Okay, now we run 2, 1. I think something should be mutual over here. No, tolerance. This is how you manage how many columns should be different. No, there is literally no mutual rows between them. Literally one last thing I want to do is just to add order by actor ID. So it will be just a little bit more. Order by actor ID. One last attempt to have something mutual between these 2 result sets. I go here, compare result 2 with result 1. Yes, I think I have one single row which is mutual. Okay, finally. So again, if you want to compare your result sets, you can use this functionality. Let's go to navigation. Since I already mentioned that we try to highlight possible errors in your SQL, and also these errors can be not only syntactical but also semantical, right? So if you use something like this within your query, we immediately will highlight you this reference as red. And DataGrip will say unable to resolve. We don't understand what it is. We don't understand the column. But if we do understand what it is, it means that we know a lot of information about the objects, right? So you can just put the mouse to your column and see, okay, you understand what this column is about, where it comes from, what is the type of the column. The same works with table. You can just put the mouse and see the detail of the table. You can even see the table preview for the table. It's under the click because before it was automatic, but we decided that running some just SQL in this particular place is not a good idea. So it's something you need to call yourself. And what this resolving actually mechanism provides us? Many things. First of all, navigation, right? You can put the caret over here, press the special shortcut, and navigate directly to the Database Explorer and see what the column is about, where it's placed, and what data source, and what schema, and blah, blah, blah. You can and this works with table, definitely. Also, you can always go to DDL, Command B, and you are jumped into the DDL editor, where you will see the proper DDL of the object. Another type of navigation to modify a window, Command F6. You are navigated to modify a window, the window where you modify actually the object. So you can do many things here. A couple of kind of a secret gem over here that you can do bulk changing. So for example, you have first name and last name, right? You can select both of columns, do something like that, and we will generate the script for both of them. So if you need to do some bulk change for several objects within the modify window, it's possible. And the fourth type of navigation to data. You press F4 on the table, and you are navigated directly to the data editor component. We have paging over here. I think by default it's 10. I want to have 500. 10 is too little. Yes, this is the data editor component. We call it data editor, obviously, because you can edit data over here. So I will hide that window. So you can just put new names over here. As you can see, we even have completion based on the values which are already there. You can do something like that. You can select several columns and do bulk submit. You can even copy and paste data. It's also possible. You can even copy from CSV and paste here just in that editor. And until you press submit, everything is definitely local. So if you want to revert these changes, you just select the changes you want to revert. You press revert, and everything is reverted. And we will generate the several scripts for you. Right? So you will always see which particular updates are going to be run. You can just press copy of these updates and insert to your query console, and you're totally fine. By the way, what we also have under Alt-Enter is preview update. So for any statement, you can run preview update, and it will show you what is going to happen after the update will be run. So as you can see, we're updating the last name from Pinket to Penelope, which is actually really the same thing over here. And yeah, we show you the last name and new last name. So if you want to check what your update is going to do, just use the preview update feature. But definitely, where do I have it? Definitely, you can run your updates just from this window. So you can, if I type something, I can press submit, and then my update is going to a database. If you use the transaction manual mode, it actually means that you will need to commit the transaction and then use our level with submit. So if you want to be on a safer side, you can use the manual modes as well. So what else here in our data editor? I will close all the other windows, so I'll be focused on that place. Ordering, super straightforward, right? You just order your data. But a couple of things you need to understand here, that by default, ordering is a client operation, so it happens within just one page, and no new queries are run. If you want ordering to be performed on the server, that's possible. You can go here, sort via order by, and it means that each time you press order, we will run a new query which will run within the database. As you can see here, we have a clause which will represent what you are doing with your ordering. But by default, I use the client sorting. Another difference where client versus server operations is really important is any kind of filtering, right? So by default, you can filter your data on the client side. I love this feature very much. I use it a lot. It's just text search. Command F, and you just type something, and the data is filtered over here on the client side. Why I love it? Because you don't need to care about where your data is. So I type James, right? Obviously, it's the first name, but I'm totally fine. But let's imagine I have a result set. So let me go here. So I'll create something really complicated and really messy, again, with a lot of joins, blah, blah, blah. So now I have a very huge result set with a lot of rows, and I want to search for drama. I even don't remember what column it is. I just press Command F, I say drama, I'm totally fine. So my row is filtered. And yes, there is one single row where the word drama is found. So again, if you want to quickly find something without writing a new query, just use the common def search. I like it a lot. But yes, definitely you need to understand that this is the client operation, so it's based on the page you are actually seeing, which is supposed to be managed over here. Another client filtering can be performed by just filtering icon, where you filter based on values. So for example, I want to again filter all the Jameses. I type James, I do this checkbox, but you can do several checkboxes here, right? And again, this is the client operation. There is a server operation. So I want to unfilter everything. There is a server filtering, which is supposed to use with a where clause, definitely. So you can do something like, I don't know, first name like M. Like you write your common SQL, press enter, and the data will be filtered according to what you typed. And yes, definitely the new query is run to get this data. What else we have here? We have some chart functionality for this data. It's not really useful. Maybe I can go to view, sales by film category, so it has some numbers. You can always open the chart and see, like, have some simple chart over here. You can have pie chart or this type of diagram, and then export it. So if you do some data analysis, you can go here. Another feature for data analysis is aggregates. So you can select several values, open side pane over here, and go to aggregates. This is zoom issues. That's why it looks really shitty. A little bit better. Let me do maybe something like 1 to 5. Okay, totally fine. So here's the aggregates. So as you can see, you just select some values and we count some aggregates. Maximum, median, minimum, whatever, even the coefficient of variation. What is cool about this pane that you can add your own aggregates over here. So these are just scripts. You can go to scripts directory and see that these are just scripts. So for example, substring is the aggregator which is not bundled into IDE. It's something I really created with the help of AI, by the way. So it created some script. I have no idea what is here, but it looks like it's working. So I select just two values, and yeah, it says the common substring here is MA, so it works. We even experimented with AI over here. As you can see, there's AI icon over here. It's not released, it's just something really internal, but I can just go to AI and ask to generate some aggregate. Do you have an idea what we can ask AI to generate? Which kind of aggregate? If you select two strings, what can we count? No ideas? I also have no ideas. Just, I don't know. Minimum, no, it's not super fun. I already used the common substring. Okay, I have no idea, but anyway, it works. But common substring is already here. But let's just most common letter. What is the most common? Okay, got it. Okay, I got it. Let's try. Which letter is most common in selected words? We actually didn't release this feature because to create this aggregate, you need to run the code to test it. And this is something we really didn't want to do because just AI will run some code we don't know about. That's why we didn't come up. Okay, so this is AI Groovy extractor, right? It's already over here. AI. Let's rename it. Common letter. So this is our script. I have no idea if it works. Let's just check it. We go to our pane. I select several words. Where is the common letter? A. Maybe it works. I don't know if it's the correct answer, but A is kind of a common letter, right? So I think it works. But anyway, if you're totally okay with the text functionality, you can use just AI chat to create the script. So this is just how this works. You can create your own aggregate. You don't need to write each kind of select over here. And another place where you can use scripting is the export. So here we have the data extractors format, and many of them are scripted. And scripted, it means the same thing. Basically, we created a script to export your data. How this works? Basically, CSV, right? Everybody knows what's that. You create a CSV, then you export your data, you choose the extractor, and the file will be created. But the extractors, they're also working for clipboard. So I can select some data, press copy, go to my query file, I don't know, something like that, press paste. It's over here. More or less, it's clear. But a couple of extractors are not so straightforward. So I like pretty extractor. It means that if I select something with pretty extractor and I go to query console, this is what I have in my clipboard, just a chunk of data. Okay, I got it, thank you very much. I literally forgot what is the length of the talk. And I can share this with my colleague, right? My personal favorite extractor is where clause extractor. I show it on every demos. So what does it mean? Let's go to my actor table. I select several actor IDs, or they can be a result of another query, right? And I go to where clause extractor, I press copy, and what do I have in my clipboard is this. So I can then paste it into some other query, and this is literally was a pain for me when I was a SQL developer. Doing all this manually, I hated it. But now you can do it automatically. If you have another idea what extractor can be, how you can export your data, or maybe for the chunk of a SQL or whatever, you can create your own extractor. And again, it is super simple. You go to extractors folder, you put it over here, just an extractor. I'm not a developer, right? So I use AI also for that. So I give AI an example. Oh, this is the extractor which does this. Can you make another one which does this? And that usually works. But again, you need to test it, of course. So that is how export functionality works. Let's go back to our grid or data editor. What I wanted to mention, yeah, we have a side pane over here. I already mentioned the aggregates, but there is two other tabs, record, one single record. This is super easy. You just see one single record, especially if you have a long records. This UI can be really helpful. Value is just a value editor where you see one single value. Again, in my case, it doesn't bring any value, but I think I have table with some long XMLs or JSON. Let me, yeah, XML test, I think something like that. So this is the table with the XML value, right? So this is something it's really hard to read. You can go to value component, and here you can see the XML inside this particular cell in a very proper formatted way. Obviously, this works with JSON and all the other formats. You can choose whatever highlighting in that value pane. Okay, a couple of things. Navigation, definitely. Foreign keys navigation. If you put the mouse on the foreign keys, there is always the related rows function. You can go to related table. Here I can see that the film ID is actor number 34. What is the film ID 90? I go here. And yeah, this is the film ID 90. So there's a foreign keys navigation. Again, thanks to introspection, it helps us a lot. Recently, we introduced coloring. So you can color. Kind of a statistics thing, maybe that's not the best choice. So you will see the what's the English word for that? Distribution between values, either sequential, so something is green or more green, or divergent where something is 0 and you have plus and minus. So you can color your numbers based on the values and see which numbers are statistically standing out, for example. So to do this, use the coloring here. You can play with different options. You can, for example, color each column independently or the whole table in case you have similar values with similar semantics. All right? Okay, let's go to navigation a little bit. Double shift is something you use for navigation. Here you have a lot of tabs. First of all, database tab is where you search for database objects. So if I type just actor, I want to find actor table, I press enter, I'm navigated to the actor table. This is my SQL table. If I want precisely to use only Postgres, definitely I just need to filter I'm searching in this data source, right? This is more or less clear, and now I'm navigated here. Files, you are searching for files. Let me remind you that this is the file explorer. You can attach any kind of folder here and have a lot of local files over here. And if you want to find the file, I will hide this pane over here. If you want to find the file, like, okay, I want to find CSV file, I just type CSV. I have a lot of CSV files, 2 CSV, something I'm looking for. I press enter, it's opened. If I want to open it in the file pane, I use select open file, and it's over here. What's next? Code is the place where you're searching for the code inside source codes of the attached files. So, for example, you want to create table. No, it's the searching for references. So if I want to search for film actor view, which is going to be created in some script, so as you can see, the create table, table, not view, scripted are found. So here you search for references inside the code. In text tab, it's super similar, but here you just search for text. Like everything is indexed. Again, DataGrip index everything. And if you want to find the text inside the files, use this. And find action is a very important, for me at least, it's a very important place where you find actions. Actions are just different things which you can do inside the IDE. So for example, I always forget how to reformat my code. I open my query console. Let's go back in time a little bit and have some code. Okay, and let's say it's not properly formatted. And I don't remember the shortcut. I go to find action and I type reformat my code. I press enter, my code is reformatted, and you can go to configure code style and play with all these settings like I mean for the whole day, because there are a lot of settings how you configure your coding style over here. If you want to restart the IDE or restart IDE, I'm totally fine with that. Or you can restart your IDE as well. Yeah, so this was navigation. Couple of very important things. You have local history. Local history actually stores everything you type locally. Like in Google Doc, you can go to any revision and revisit any of them. So you don't need. That's why you don't need to save files in DataGrip. We always automatically save everything. So if you want to go back in time or search by the history, it's possible. Yeah, and let's do some AI stuff. We definitely have the ability to generate code based on AI natural language support. So you give me 5 actors whose name starts from M. I don't know. I don't care about typos. That's cool about AI. You press enter, you send the request, and now you got something generated, you accept, and you're totally fine. So something which I used when you approached me with subsequential CTEs, I just go to AI, give me query with, I don't know, with 2 subsequential CTEs, you know? And yeah, it basically gives you something. So to create some very simple stuff, you can just use this if you don't want to do the manual, you know, SQL generation. It still generates, accepts, so now I have this query. I don't know if it's bullshit or no, but looks more or less reliable, you know? That's how AI works. We definitely have AI chat over here. The cool thing that you can provide the schema as a context, as I told you, thanks to introspection. You can go here and say, hey, I work with Postgres, guest, public. This is my schema, and we need to chat about this schema. For example, this is your example, I suppose. Just explain what it is there. I have no idea. Explain me that schema. And AI will do its best to, no. It's something with the history. Okay, we got new chat. Okay, forget about it. Just forget about my chatting with you. I will delete all the context. Let's try another one. Let's guest public. Explain me that schema. Bam. Should work fine, I hope so. It literally works when I demo it on the booth, but you know, that's the demo effect. What am I searching? Okay, something is going wrong with the AI now, I don't know. But at least it worked. What I also wanted to show you, but it's something we haven't released, I will open my DataGrip EAP, just unreleased already version, which is super not stable, but sorry, it's light. Let's go back to dark theme. Dark is we introduced the explain with AI functionality. So let me create another query. Select from, no, I need the search path. I need search path. Let me do something like that. Okay, guest public. All right. So I have SEL, no. SEL from actor, again, some stupid joins. And maybe something like that, I don't know, or something like that. So we have some query which have something to explain. We introduced the button for explain plan, by the way, so you can see the explain plan. By default, it's showed in the tree mode, but you can always show the diagram mode and see a little bit better. But you can also ask AI to comment on the plan. So there's analyze SQL plan button. So if you press it, the AI will try to understand what it is about, and in a human-readable way, it will tell you what is the what is the short TLDR thing. It will show you the execution plan table. So this is the structure we provided for the prompt, so it will stay consistent throughout the work with DataGrip. It has plan overview, blah, blah, blah. And finally, it will make some suggestions, maybe. Let's see. execution details. Yeah, and it comes up with some optimization suggestions, which again maybe doesn't have much sense in my simple case, but anyway. So you can try with your own queries and see what it actually gives to you. You can always fix your queries with AI also. So for example, you have something like, I don't know, let me go to fix table, and let's say top 10, which is I think the incorrect syntax for Postgres. I can just select queries again, use AI, and say fix it for PostgreSQL, press enter, and I think it will come up with limit. I hope so. Yeah, I accept, it comes up with a limit. So again, this button, you can both generate your queries or you can fix different errors if you meet them and just hope that everything is going to work fine. I think I'm going to finish to have some space for questions if there are questions, and we'll be happy if you try DataGrip in any way.
Yeah, we have like 10 minutes left in the session, so if there's any questions now, that would be good, and then maybe you can show some more.
Okay, I come from development world. Thanks for presentation. That was very interesting. I have a question about AI. Let's imagine I have connected to some sensitive database. Maybe it's client data and it's query from production with maybe some filters with client data in them. When you do the AI thing, I don't know, explain this or improve that, presumably you would send over to OpenAI or whoever is provider the contents of the editor. How do you scrub my client data out of it? I kind of don't want, I don't know if my clients are agreeing of OpenAI having it.
Yeah, first of all, AI is not bundled by default. So if you don't install the Assistant plugin, you have no AI in DataGrip. That's the most important thing. The second thing that we have the explicit consent about sharing your database schema with AI. Definitely we don't share any data, just at all. We don't do that. We share the schema, but we have the explicit consent for that. But after all, again, if you don't install the plugin, you're good to go. You're totally clean out of any AI thing. So this is a very sensitive topic, we understand that. That's why we had an idea to bundle it, but no, that didn't fly.
You show the one tool with comparison tool. Do you have a limit of comparison, like certain amount of medium start to crash or something like that?
Well, nothing I'm aware of. I think if you have a lot of rows over here, it'll be slow. Or even crash, I don't know. We never tested with million rows. So officially, we don't have any limits over here in comparator, but I don't know. It can happen, I assume.
Okay. And one more regarding to this tool. Can you compare between two different consoles or only in the same console?
No, you can compare even between two different databases. For us, it doesn't matter. Yeah, let's do this. So this is my console, right? I run it, and this is another console where I run something. It will be bullshit, but they will not comparable, but it doesn't matter, right? So I have another thing. So I can go to compare, and here I see all the results from all the consoles. So I can compare this to result 1. So that's possible. We are database agnostic in that level. And yeah, also, by the way, I forgot to mention that you can export your tables from one database to the other, which is cool, but you can export the result set from one database to the other. So for example, this is my Postgres result set, right? And if it's long query, I can wish to materialize it, and it's possible. You can just press copy to database, and here you choose where you copy this as a result. So I can copy it to my SQL and say, okay, result 2, I'm totally fine. I press OK. Magic happens, and now I have result 2 table, which is a table in MySQL populated by data from PostgreSQL results. So it will help you to materialize your result sets. And if you want to use it locally, just use SQLite. That will be totally possible. So yeah, that's also a thing you can do when you work with several databases. Yes?
Any other question?
Thanks. It was really interesting.
Thank you.
So my question is regarding this is a stuff all the developers doing. I mean, if there is any possibility to somehow the administration stuffs. For example, in the PostgreSQL, I just want to see, I mean, what query is executing right now, what resourcing they're using, and so on, if it is any possibility.
That's a very good question. We discussed this a lot. As I told to somebody on our booth, the administration features are not there yet, and they are super database specific. So to cover the administration, flow, we need to create a lot of stuff, and which is very different from database to database. So we just decided this is not completely our market. We have some very primitive stuff, like for example, virtual views. It is the concept of creating views, but on the client side. So for example, this is a sessions views, right? I just double click on it, and I see all the sessions. Oh no, it doesn't work with my. Why it doesn't work? Is it something my data source is working? No, my data source doesn't work. Anyway, so let me reopen. And while I reopen, I will continue. So we have some very primitive stuff to cover some basic needs. But yeah, it will be too complicated for us, and I don't think this is the market we are orienting. So if you're super database administrator, maybe you need at least to combine. Because administrators, they write a lot of SQL. And yes, that's where we can be useful. But with all these dashboards and PG admin, like scope of administration, no, we are not planning on doing that, at least in closest future.
Okay, so question, is there a way to release shared log on the catalog? Because that's a problem when, you know when the problem is. And I think there is some magic button, but my clients often get into it, and I was telling them there is a way, but I don't know which way is it.
It happens because we run metadata queries on...
And then, for example, if somebody looking at, not even querying, looking at a partition table, and somebody else want to add partition, then deadlock.
There is no magic button for sure.
There's no magic button. Okay, so that's, maybe you need to work on it.
Yeah, maybe, but
Yeah, so that's like one thing. The other request, because I know you do not have it, again, my customers run into it. So in terms of you only show what you think they need, so is it possible to read the default search path and show not public schema, but where they are? It would be terrific, because we are moving people out of public because it lost special status after PG 15 and up. And when we seamlessly remove it, they do not know they are in main schema, not in public, and then they go to DataGrip.
You mean when we create the query console, your search path is by default set to public?
Yeah. And they do not even see the schema. I mean, you just demonstrated. By default, you have all the public. And then we kind of need, you need to go to remove this filter and add your schema. And if the customer has like something prior to, like first schema in default search path, it would be amazing if you could read it.
But as I think, here you can define which schema you are seeing, and you can define default schema over there.
Yeah, but they don't know. That's our magic. We make them not knowing where they are.
Yeah, but if they select default schema, it will choose the default schema based on what you set in your database. For us, it doesn't matter. Now it's public because I have it public. If I set another schema as default, just checking the default schema here will choose that schema.
So if they check default here, it will check their default schema.
Yeah, of course.
Any other quick question? Got 2 more minutes.
Okay, thank you very much. I really appreciate you came. If you have any questions, just reach our booth. We are here for 2 more days, and thank you so much.
Thanks. The next talk will be in 10 minutes here.